Good morning, everyone. I thought I'd sit down and do a quick Q&A for today's video. I asked you guys for a bunch of questions on Instagram, and I got, oh my gosh, I probably got 300 questions, which is so insanely crazy, but also makes me so happy that people really, people are really using social media to actually connect with people. And yeah, it just always makes me like so happy that people want to engage and ask questions, and not just like questions about me, but questions about their own life. So I thought today, one of the most common themes that came up in the questions that you guys asked were about relationships. And so I thought I'd talk about all sorts of relationships, whether that be family and friends, and then, obviously romantic relationships. So let's get the romantic ones out of the way, because I think those are the ones I got the most about. So a very common question I got is, how do you deal with heartbreak? Oh my gosh. It's, what the thing about heartbreak is that when you are brokenhearted, it feels like you're in this deep, dark hole and there's kind of no way to see outside of it. So that's like the really unique thing about heartbreak is it kind of takes away perspective for most people. And so for me, like how I've gotten over heartbreak in the past is really surround yourself with, first of all, people that love you and give you value, especially if you're feeling like the person you were with didn't give you value, or if you were feeling like some of that was stripped down. So I would say really, really try to spend time with people that you genuinely care about and genuinely care about you, but also make a list. This is what was really helpful for me, making a list of all the things during the time I was with that person that I may have missed out on, or that I really wanted to do that maybe they didn't want to do, or things I sacrificed. People that constantly came into my mind saying, oh, I want to reach out to that person. I want to hang out with that person. And that I don't mean just romantically. I mean with, different new friendships or different new hobbies, different things you wanted to try, different adventures you wanted to go on. And really make a list and start doing those things. Like, it's not about someone being taken out of your life. It's about you reclaiming your life and your space and your relationships. So it doesn't have to be about, isolating yourself and being alone and, sitting in that sadness for the next year and then, going off and rabidly trying to meet someone new. It's really about like, who am I? How do I make myself a really attractive person that someone wants to be with? And the main goal not being that you're making yourself great to attract someone, but you're making yourself great because that's what you deserve. And someone will be attracted to that or not. And you can be single and fucking awesome. So there have been many years in my life where I've just so enjoyed being single, and people act like it's like the worst thing in the world, and I actually prefer it most of the time. I think there's nothing better than a great relationship, but the close second is like being single and having this like vibrant, exciting, fun life. So don't be afraid of being single, people. It's not the worst thing in the world. Take it as a learning experience. Also try to enjoy it. It's not a death sentence. It's an opportunity. Just like relationships are an opportunity too. So, those are some things that help me through breakups. But also, the one last thing I will say is take moments that you can be sad. You don't need to just dole your feelings out constantly. Take those moments where you're like, okay, I'm going to allow myself in 15-minute increments today to be as sad as I want to be. I'm going to allow myself to be brokenhearted. I'm going to set a timer, and I'm going to let myself cry or be sad or think about it. And then after that 15-minute timer is up, you have to do something else. You have to go be productive. And I think the balance of allowing yourself to feel, but then also allowing yourself to be free and to breathe and to gain some perspective, both things are really important. So that's how I would suggest getting over a breakup or a heartbreak. So many people wrote me about not being sure about the relationships they're in, which, to me, when people ask me if they should stay in a relationship, I think you've already answered your own question. I think when you are kinetically supposed to be with someone and they are a great emotional fit, you never question that. it's never a sinking pit in your stomach of, like, is this worth it? Because if it's the right person, it's always worth it. And if it's the wrong person, it rarely is. So I would just suggest really like listen to your heart, your spirit, your gut. It will tell you more than you ever need to know. And the thing is like, don't trade your happiness because you're afraid of loneliness, okay? Because you only have so much emotional energy in your life, in your days, and every person that you give that to, it reduces the amount you can give to someone else. So I'm a firm believer in I'd rather be alone than in the wrong situation. So just keep that in mind. The next thing that so many people asked was about making friends. And I thought it was so fascinating because I love making friends. It's my favorite activity. I probably have I've made too many friends at this point. I'm not saying like, oh my God, I'm so likable, people want to be my friend. No, I just like actively pursue friendships in my life. And so I thought I'd give you some tips on how to make friends. And I think the first one is be the friend, become the person, the woman, the man, the friend that you would want someone to be to you. So for me, it's about being generous and thoughtful and cultivating my own interests and being interesting. I think so few people concentrate on being interesting in their own life. I think, people want to be around compelling, cool people. And so that involves you becoming a cool, compelling, interesting person. So, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I need to make friends or whatever, it's like, no, I need to go like really stoke my interests. I want to go learn something. I want to go get involved. And so in those opportunities of kind of expanding who you are and expanding the things that you care about or that you're interested in, you're gonna meet people, which is so amazing. I always like encourage people like join clubs, go to classes, whether that's like I started going to a ceramic studio and met some people there, but also through Instagram is a great way to meet friends. And so many of me and my girlfriends have met on Instagram, and it's just been, I was out with a few of them last night, and I was just like, wow, the power of social media, the power of just putting yourself out there can be just absolutely magical. And you can have access to people that you would have never run into. I think that's why dating apps like Tinder and stuff work, because they put you in situations and in front of people that you would have never run across. So I think Instagram can do the same thing, or social media in general. And so I mean, one of my best friends, Jara, like DM'd me on Instagram, and she wrote me a message, and she's like, I think you're really cool. I think we'd be friends. Would you ever want to hang out? And she came up, and we basically went on a blind friend date, and it was so amazing. And then Sarita, my other friend that I was with last night, I had DM'd her, and I put myself out there, and I said, I think you're really, really special and cool, and I would love to get to know you. And the thing is, the worst thing that can happen is someone will say no. And like, that's okay. Like we all experience rejection in our lives, and rejection isn't so bad because rejection is directly connected to trying. Being disappointed is often because you put yourself out there. So is that the worst thing? I would much rather be disappointed because of that than be disappointed in myself because I never tried. So I would definitely say like join organizations, volunteer, go to, work, if you're a freelancer, work from workspaces that have the types of people that, are in your industry. Like I know in New York, we have something called The Wing. So it's like an all-female kind of like entrepreneurial workspace. But then there's like WeWork, or, surround yourself with entrepreneurs, surround yourself with people that of like mind. For some people, that's getting involved at a church. So for some people, that's getting involved at a charity. Whatever it is, I think the fear of putting yourself out there and getting involved is the scariest part. But once you do, you realize that like never once in your life, if someone came up to you and said, hey, I think you're really cool. Like, would you want to grab a drink or lunch or something and get to know each other? Like very rarely would you say in your life that you thought that was strange. I'm sure you would admire their boldness or thought it was like cool of them to ask. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Like, you probably wouldn't think it's weird, so maybe you should try it. And then also, in cultivating friendships and keeping friendships, I would say understand which friendships in your life need to die and which friendships in your life need to live. So, and I don't mean to say that in like a morbid, like sad sense. There's just different times and different stages of your life where you should be friends with different people. And I think the hard part, and so much of our joy suck, is trying to keep relationships going with people that their relationship does not serve you. And I think like it's not about you not loving that person anymore, or that they're no longer a valid, you know, part of your story or your life, but more so that, you know, your 2007 self and their 2007 self might have related, but maybe your 2018 self doesn't relate to them. And you know, it can be emotionally draining if you are trying to kind of resuscitate relationships your whole life, rather than really focusing and putting your energies toward the ones that really give you energy and give you, give you light, give you brightness in your own life. So I think we do so much out of guilt and shame in our life that anytime you can kind of pull that out, especially in relationships with, you know, you can still love your college friends. You can still love your high school friends. But to, you know, put a lot of your emotional energy in trying to make a friendship work that necessarily isn't relevant at the time, it's just not a good way to spend your energy. So it's nothing about that you don't like them. It's not a hurtful thing. It's a mature thing. And it's also a protecting yourself thing. So I would say that's like a really important part of making new friends, is really evaluating your old friendships and your old relationships and saying like, where is the value for me and for them? So yeah, that's I think something that's really helped me, is making peace with the relationships in my life and their kind of status. So the last and final thing I'll say, and this is something that I'm really working through, is relationships with family. And I know especially around the holidays, it's really, really complicated to be around family. And, you know, this is a question that a lot of people ask, like, how do I deal with a family member that has differing political viewpoints, or, you know, thinks differently about issues, or doesn't condone my lifestyle, or these were all kinds of questions I got. And truthfully is, I don't really know. I'm figuring it out as well. Me and my family have really different views in politics and in world issues and social issues. And I have such a empathetic, huge heart for these things. And they're so important to me that it's really, really hard for me to manage my relationships with my family. And I don't know if the answer is not talking about those things and just trying to enjoy each other and love each other. But for me, that's the only thing I've found to this point, is just trying to really focus on the things that you love about each other and that you appreciate. And I was talking to a friend who lost her mother, and, you know, she was like, the one thing I regret is arguing about little things that didn't matter, or really focusing on kind of the minutia. And she's like, if I could have gotten those moments back, I would have done anything. And so I think about that a lot now, you know, when dealing with my family, and just like learning how to appreciate what we have in common rather than focusing what we don't have in common, and giving them as much value and as much importance in those other things as possible. And I think we all come from different places and different backgrounds and different stories and different perspectives. And so for me, it's like a never-ending process of understanding. And so, you know, truthfully, my answer is I don't know. I'm figuring that out. And if anyone has a great answer for that, I would love to hear it. Please message me on Instagram. But yeah, I hope this helped. This is just like a few relationship kind of management tools that I use, and also just like thoughts I had about love and friendship and family. So yeah, if you have any other, you know, ideas for future questions that you have, or any enlightenment that you want to share, please share them in the comments. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And you know, this little online community has kind of become my friends and my family as well. So it's really special to get to share this kind of stuff with you. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe. I'm cool. You're enjoying this. You're already watching it. Why not subscribe? It's not like I'm gonna like send you mass emails about like sales and stuff. It's just a subscribe button, and it's just like, hey, there's a fun new video for you to watch. Cool. All right. I hope you guys have an awesome day. I'm gonna get out of here. I have a shoot, but keep on rocking, keep those relationships strong, and I'm proud of all of you.